Hey everybody, can you hear me? Hopefully the sound works and the video works and everything works, and I got it. Yep, I just drove 2 miles there and 2 miles back to chase down the UPS driver. He was nice. He was like, sure, here you go. I don't know if, what if I didn't show my license? He didn't ask for the license. Can anybody just do it? Hello everybody. Remy, welcome back. Jose, Gojo. All right, I'll try to be as attentive as I can to the chat. I'm usually not so great at that, but I'll try to hang out with you guys a little bit. Some of you have been waiting for a while. I did put this on early today. Didn't know that the package was going to be late, but luckily I made it just 5 minutes beforehand. All right, so should we do it? Should we just go for it? I got a closer. Hey, hello Roma from Ukraine, Dmitry from Russia. It's great that we can get together under those kinds of circumstances, at least online. Let's see, Rev, Saulo, James, Gary, Juan. Welcome everybody. All right, let's do this. I don't want to take too much of your time, so we're just gonna unbox it. And I'm gonna switch to this camera right here. Wait a minute. That's not the Apple way. What am I doing? That's just wrong. I mean, this is not the way. This is the Apple way. All right, here we go. Look how easy that was. I was trying to make it more difficult. Nice box. Look at that. 13-inch MacBook Air. Now, for those of you that are not aware, this is the 8 GB model with 256 gigabytes. So, yeah, we might have issues with this one, just like we saw with the MacBook Pros. I don't know, we will see. And by the way, I know I do a bunch of tests on this channel, and a lot of you request different combinations, so I went out and bought one of these yesterday. Hey, it's smaller. This is the MacBook Air M1. And the reason I got this one is because the M1 that I have is 16 gigabytes of RAM. And that one has 512 hard drive. This one has the same exact specs as the M2. So these two MacBook Airs have the exact same specs, except the chip and the design, of course, obviously. M2, M1, I'll be testing these against each other, as well as the other machines I have in here, which, you know, I have a few. A nice little combination. I also picked up one of these. I did a poll yesterday. Not everybody was interested in older iMacs, but this was like, I don't know, I would consider this a bargain. We'll see when I start using it. Anybody can guess, can anybody guess what year this is? Yeah, this is the older design, and this is pretty much the same design as the M1 Mac. It's got the wedge. Nice design. Yeah, this one has, hey, look at that. Wow. This design does look old. The designs look really old, don't they? They look pretty old quickly, but this is a 2017. Savar had it right. Only one person guessed 2019, which is higher, but everybody else said 2016 or lower. Yeah, this white Apple makes it look pretty old, doesn't it? But I'll be testing this one as well. Same specs, just a different chip. That way we can get a nice little comparison. But what about today? Today, I'd like to just open this up and maybe run a couple of little benchmarks on it. That's what we'll do today. And here we go. Wow. So I thought this was going to be small, but this is really small. Yeah, this feels really nice. I mean, it's like, it's much smaller than the MacBook Pros. Here's the MacBook Pro 16 for comparison. See if you can see it better with that angle. So I'm putting it right up against the edge. It's considerably smaller and much, much lighter. Like, I feel very comfortable having it in one hand. Let's do a little flip. Yeah, I can flip it like a pizza. Oh, look at that. Starts right up. Love that. Okay. So there it goes, starting up. Now it's also a lot shorter on the desk than the MacBook Pro. I would say like 4 or 5 millimeters, maybe 4.5. Which may or may not affect your typing, I don't know, because I keep my palms on the computer anyway, so it might not even matter. But there they are next to each other, my daily driver, MacBook Air. And for reference, here is the M1 MacBook Air. Let's take a look at it next to each other. Well, this one's dead. I'm gonna have to charge this one. I only use this really for testing now.
English as the main language. Press the
What?
return key.
Why did she say that? Okay. All right, so let's see what's happening with the chat here. A burn test. Yes, it does flip good, Dan. I mean, Mohammed. So, I kind of like this color. I heard a lot about fingerprint issues.
macOS contains a built-in screen reader called VoiceOver. If you know how to use VoiceOver, press Command F5 now to turn it on and set up your Mac. If you would like to learn how to use VoiceOver to set up your Mac, press the Escape key.
I'll just wait for her to finish. I don't want to...
VoiceOver Quick Start. VoiceOver speaks descriptions of items on the screen and can be used...
Okay. All right, let's set it up and run some benchmarks. I'm going to go through the setup tests, setup steps. Now, one thing I kind of like is having a USB plug on the right. I don't know. I like having that on the right for some reason. I know that's not the most convenient place for a USB plug because a lot of people are right-handed and they use a mouse next to there, but I like to have it on the right. This one only has them on the left. 2 plugs on the left. So let's see. I think we have that now over here. Good to go. So I need to select my Wi-Fi. Let me do all that. This is a typical problem I run into on live streams. Hiding my password from people. But from the last live stream that I think I almost slipped, nobody hacked me. At least not that I know of. I hope. Okay, Migration Assistant, no thank you. I'm going to sign in with my Apple ID because I like to have that continuity and to be able to use universal control. I don't know if I need to use that for universal control, but I've been using it on other machines and it's actually pretty handy. So let's sign in with my Apple ID. There you go. Oh. Okay, I need to allow that. Two-factor. Boom. Let's see what else we need to do here. You know, I gotta say, I kind of like the idea of opening a box with a knife. And I got this cool knife to use to open boxes in my office. But I don't get a chance to use it anymore with Apple products because they just have everything tear away so easily. Maybe I can just cut up the box later, I don't know, for fun. This is a cool knife. I don't know, whatever. Account name, let's go over there. Alex, let's do a password. Can't watch. Okay, are we good? Let's see what the chat says. Scripted pixels. Some JavaScript tests, please. So today I'll probably do some tests that I can do today without requiring too much setup. Some tests require a lot of setup, of course. Today I just want to run a couple of basic things that don't require setup. Kame says, please check the SSD chip also. I plan to do a that test that everybody uses, Blackmagic one for disk speed. So we'll do that. K9 Charlie says, get the MacBook Pro 14-inch on Best Buy. It's $1,800. So I've seen some interesting sales lately. And by the way, that M1 MacBook, I went to Apple first to buy it yesterday, but it was $999 for that one. And then I checked my local store, which was Micro Center, and they had it for $829. Big difference. I saved some bucks. All right, let me disable all this stuff, all the defaults for locations and all that. I'm over here in this time zone. That's close enough. And set up screen time later. I'll never set up screen time. And I'll never enable Siri. Sorry. Hussein. Hey, there's Frank. Hey, Frank. Welcome back. Hussein says, what's your specs, Alex? So this is the base model. All the ones I talked about today are base models. So this model also comes with Touch ID. That's really cool. I use that all the time. I love Touch ID. But I'll use it later. Can I just set this up later? Oh, there's that button. Okay, continue, basic look, that's fine. Okay, we're in. It just looks a little weird, and I think I know why. I don't know if you see this or not, probably not. Let me show you this. But you see how the aspect ratio is different? And that's because I'm plugged in through HDMI here. Not HDMI, but USB-C. I'm gonna have to go in and adjust my display settings. Let's do that. default for display. Come on. Hello, default. No, optimize for Alexander's MacBook Air. There we go. There we go. So now we're using all the real estate available. Cool. So here we are, we're in. Now what about the brightness? Let's check the brightness, because I know that this has a newer screen. So let's check that out. Now this is a purely subjective test here because I'm just looking at it. I'm not measuring anything. But it looks bright enough for me. It looks like the MacBook Pro is brighter, but maybe that's because the screen is bigger and it just seems brighter. But this is bright enough. It's actually quite nice. I don't know if you can tell, but I think this is brighter. Sloth Girl is talking about the notch. There is that notch, yes. Welcome, Sloth Girl. All right, so let's see what folks are saying here. Is it black, gray, or silver? This model is called Midnight, I believe, which is not black. It's not gray. I mean, it could be gray. It looks like it's a mix between a dark gray, blue, but it's not black. Yeah, so Oscar said it's too expensive. It is pretty expensive. This is a very expensive machine. I have another one on order, by the way. I have the 24 gigabyte version on order, and that one has a bigger hard drive, so hopefully that'll alleviate some of the issues we've seen. But at that point, it's so expensive, I don't know. I wish all the best luck to this machine. I just don't know if I would buy it for myself. Like the MacBook Air with the M1 is still Apple's biggest mistake. They really kind of shot themselves in the foot with that one as far as sales go. But, you know, what I mean by that, of course, is, let me explain that. They released a really, really amazing machine for a small price, and now people are wondering whether they should buy the new one or not, because the old one is so great. Let's grab Blackmagic Disk Speed, and I'm going to switch over to my computer screen. And we will all see the results live here of the test. Let's go. Yeah, just as I suspected. There we go. Not the best, folks. Not the best. Although we're getting up to 17 on write. That doesn't count, I know. All right, people are asking, are there any fingerprints? Oscar's asking that. I guess if you touch it a lot, then you'll get fingerprints. You know what? Let me see. This machine right here, the my daily driver MacBook Pro, I use it every day. Let me examine it for fingerprints. All right. This is space gray, and I don't see any fingerprints. On top, there are a few fingerprints, but they just look like discolorations, not visible fingerprints. Here, I mean, I just wash my hands, so my hands are clean, but during normal use, you'll probably have oil on your hands. So you might leave a lot more fingerprints than I'm leaving now. To be determined. As far as disk speed goes, disappointing. All right, what else are we gonna do today? Drop in your suggestions into the chat, folks. And if it's something really quick and easy and dirty, we can do it. One thing I think about doing right now is the speedometer. Yeah, folks are saying how slow it is. I mean, you kind of had to expect it, right? Melvin, Xcode benchmark is coming. Xcode is going to take a long time to install. I'm not going to subject you to sitting here and watching that happen, so I'll do that in another video. But I'm going to do Xcode benchmark, and of course I'm going to do a bigger build, like WebKit. I'm going to build WebKit for, because that one takes a while, and that's what's really interesting about these machines to see if they throttle or not, is taking a really long build and seeing how long that takes. Pavel is asking how hot it is. I'm sorry, folks, if I'm skipping some of your questions. They're just going by really fast. It's not noticeably hot. Of course, there's nothing running on it right now. It's just sitting there, so. At idle, it's 32 degrees Celsius. This one at idle is 31 degrees. And that's right around there where the CPU is, right in the middle. But most likely the CPU is probably closer to the back. But this would be a more useful thing to figure out. No, it's still 31 over there. This would be a better test to do once something is running on it, something heavy duty. Okay, let's see. DJ Nemo sent a super chat. I'm sorry, DJ Nemo, where is that? Oh, thank you, DJ. Hey, bro. I suck at this. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. All right. M2 Air, it's a no-go for Frank. Roma says, check lines of code, please. All right, let's get some stuff installed here, shall we? Let's get, first of all, Chrome. All right, show of hands, who thinks that Chrome is dangerous and they'll avoid it at all costs? I don't think so. I mean, sure, Google will know some stuff about me, but who cares? They already know everything they need to, and they know a lot more than I want them to, but what can I do about it? Did I already do that? Okay. Yeah, I got two of them. All right, we've got Chrome. James Libby asks a very, very valid question. Can the Schwarzenegger do 4 machines? Unfortunately, the Schwarzenegger will have to be upgraded to do 4 machines at the same time. Schwarzenegger only has 3 fingers. I'm gonna have to go get a new piece of wood. All right, we've got Chrome in here. And what's next? Let's do VS Code, shall we? VS Code. And Homebrew and all that stuff, I will probably get all that later. And I'll just get the universal version of VS Code, why not? Okay, let's see. How many tabs can you open in Chrome without crashing it? I don't know. I have a video where I opened, what was it, 1,000 tabs? Or something like that. And eventually the machine just stopped working. I forgot how many exactly. All right, for those of you that are not familiar with the Schwarzenegger, this is the Schwarzenegger, okay? I haven't brought it out on live chats yet, but this is it. If you notice, it's got fingers, and you can press the enter key at the same time on multiple machines. Hey, I'm sitting in a tiny room, okay? Give me a break. I go crazy sometimes. Let's get this thing installed. There it is, VS Code. Okay, so Roman asks, I think it was Roman, how many lines of code? I don't have any code. We need code. Code, code, code. And I'll trust the authors of this code, code.js. Here is my code. You know what? Let's grab some code. Benchmarks game. Let's grab some JavaScript. Why not? Here we go. Oh, this. All right. So I switch my scrolling direction whenever I get a Mac. I don't know. It just seems like the other scrolling direction, not the default one, is the best for me, at least. So this is the default lines of code that you'll see. I did not make any adjustments. There's no personalization here. This is the default, and I see 41 lines of code in VS Code. And that's including Chrome and everything. And if I make this full screen, I see 47. Didn't I say 47? Oh no. Okay, 41 and then 47. And you can probably just make your adjustments however you see fit. You know, you want to see more? There you go. If you're an eagle, then you'll be able to see that from a mile away. If you're getting old, like me, then you need something like this. All right. Fernando says this machine is better than a Vio. I don't know. I've never used a Vio, but anecdotally from friends that had Vios, they say that it's money not well spent. That's all I got to say about it. Never tested it personally. Tech Realm says, do you use smaller screen scaling usually? No, I use the default screen scaling. Well, okay, so there's a difference between the built-in screen, where I use the default, and then if I use an external monitor, then I'm going to use some scaling. So for example, this is a 27-inch 4K display, and over there, let's see, I'm using scaling, and this is the 2560 by 1440 setting. So, yeah. And I like the way that looks because visually, the size of the icons and the size of the fonts are pretty close to what they look like on the main screen and the extra screen using that particular scaling setting. All right, let's go on to some more speed tests, shall we? Now, I've already done speedometer tests on the M2 chip, but I haven't done it on the M2 Air, so let's do it. All right. By the way, this is running in Chrome right now. So Chrome is going to give slightly different results than Safari. Let's see if my, 334, not bad. It's not bad, right? Let's go with Safari and see how that does. Speedometer. Start test. And while that's cooking up, I'm going to pop open my MacBook Pro or my MacBook Air M1 here. All right. $393. It's okay. I mean, it's great. My first attempt at doing this on the MacBook Pro M2, I got a score of 404, which was better. Above 400 now is the new standard, right? All right. I want to do something that folks suggested, and that would be, where's my other camera? Here we go. Speedometer. All right, so we got, this is the new one, M2 MacBook Air. It's going to be very easy to see in my videos because this one's a different color now. And let's do the test here on the old MacBook Air, which is now 2 years old. This was the first M1 machine I got. I mean, it's old, but it's still good. We'll run speedometer on that and also disk speed after that's done. So folks have been asking me about Asahi Linux, and my thoughts about that is it's great that that's happening and that's being built, but I'll try it when it's ready. That's kind of my thoughts right now. I mean, what am I really going to do with Asahi Linux once that's installed? So I'll get some basic benchmarks. Big deal. I want to be able to have a usable machine, right? A machine that people can actually use and I can recommend to folks. And Asahi, if it's not ready yet for prime time, then I'm not going to mess with that right now. Okay. So Daryl says, how does the keyboard feel? I haven't had a problem with the keyboard since the 2016 MacBooks. Even the 2019 MacBook had a really nice keyboard for me. I don't know, some people are more picky than me about keyboards. It feels very close to the MacBook Pro keyboard, but a little tighter for some reason. Just a little bit more resistance to the keys. Very negligible, and I just might be making stuff up. I don't know. But to me, that's what it feels like. It's different than the MacBook Air M1. Yeah. I mean, I love them both. Both keyboards are very usable, very easy to type on for development. All right. Akar says, does the M2 look hot or normal? I think it looks pretty hot. In a good way. No, it's not hot. Physically, it's not hot at all. They're all hovering around the same temperature, which I measured just recently, which was 31, 32 degrees Celsius. So Frank, I agree with you that Linux on M1 bare metal probably would do really well. And that's probably why people want to see how does Asahi work on it and what kind of performance we can get from that. And I bet it's going to be great. But I'll test it out when it's ready, when it's closer to being ready. All right. By the way, let me ask you this. The MacBook Pro M2, you don't need to say anything about it if you don't want that model. But if you do want it, and if you are thinking about buying that, can you just throw a line in the chat? I'm really curious. Like, are people actually, is anybody out there going to be buying that? And while all right, so some people are saying it's trash. Igor says plus, F1 says minus. Yes, no, never. This is very mixed. I'm just amazed. Huh. All right. Svein, welcome back. Happy with my MacBook Pro, maxed out. Me too. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm so happy with my MacBook Pro. Here's how happy with it, with my MacBook Pro I am. I bought this machine right here, the Mac Studio, thinking that that was going to be my main machine going forward. But no, I keep using my MacBook Pro everywhere. I just leave the desk, I continue using it, I come back here, I continue using it. I love that. Such a great machine. I mean, it's definitely overkill for a lot of the things, especially for developers, but this Mac Studio, I think it seems like such a waste. I had no idea that I would be so happy with a laptop that I am. Okay. So let's get back to some of this testing. We got 337 here on the, I should probably show that, shouldn't I? The M1 MacBook Air got 337. And that was in Safari. And I believe we got high 390s on the M2 for that same test. Okay, let's do a check on Chrome on that one, and then we'll do a Blackmagic disk speed test on this one because we haven't done that yet. For those of you that missed that, we are getting 1500 to 1600 on both write and read, around that area for the disk speed. Unfortunately, on the M2 MacBook Air, kind of to be expected. It's a 256 gigabyte model. All right, Chrome got 301 over here, and Chrome got 334 on the M2. M1 still kicking. M1 doing well. Somebody's asking me for Wi-Fi speed test, Nilushana. My Wi-Fi is not the best here. So there you go. I'm getting about 268, 270, 290 upload. All right, and that one is getting the same kind of numbers. Fernando says M1 is better than M2. In some ways, yes. In some ways, maybe no. It depends what you're looking for, right? So if you are looking for Touch ID, I don't think the M1 has that. If you're looking for an updated camera, the new one. If you're looking for a brighter screen, the new one. What else? What else? I think this might have a different display on it. All right, let's do a disk speed test. Yeah. Look at that. Wow. Destroyed the M2. I shouldn't say M2, all right? It has nothing to do with M2. It has to do with what they put in here, the NAND chip, right? So, Insomnia says no promotion, right? Yeah, this doesn't have promotion. I think this is stuck to 60 Hertz. Let's check that out. It doesn't say, but I believe it's 60 Hertz maximum on this one. Anybody know that for 100% in the chat? So Volker, welcome. Volker, the SSDs that are in this particular model, this is the 512 model of the M1 MacBook Air. And this one has two 256 chips. The other one that I bought yesterday, this M1 MacBook Air has 256 gigabytes SSD. And this one, I believe, has two 128 chips in it. I'm going to test this out, and we'll see. So, yeah. Which, by the way, I should conclude that thought by saying that this should be faster SSDs than the M2 MacBook Air with the base model. AJ, welcome. Yes, please test thermals. Want to know how bad the M2 NBA throttles. I will be doing more tests once I get more software installed on here so I can do longer builds. Thanks for checking that, James. Okay, let's see. Johnny English, welcome. What did I miss? Well, a lot. We're almost done today. But you can watch the replay because I'll keep this video up. All right, speaker test, please. I don't think that this is gonna have... Where the heck are the speaker grills? What? All right, folks, where are the speaker grills? Are they back here somewhere? Does this thing have speakers? Oops. Is this thing on? Okay. We're good. We're good. By the way, I have some mishaps in the last live stream where I put a dent in my Mac Studio. Super not happy about that. Not only is it just sitting there, but now it has a dent in it and sitting there. Ugh. Insult to injury, as they say. We'll do the crab sound, but first I wanted to say that this M1 MacBook Air has twice the speed, roughly twice the speed in the SSD than the M2 MacBook Air base model. And let's do that crab test. I think it's called Crab Rave.
Get out your ass. We're going to Camp McDonald's.
Okay. Daryl, thank you so much. And welcome back, by the way.
A performance by me with 3 more amazing shows leading up and deals on the food you love. Only in the McDonald's app. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
So Daryl says, do you still have M1 Pro Envy? No. No, it went away. I think kind of like once you've purchased a product, you've kind of committed to it, you can't just go back and keep second guessing yourself, right? So at that point, I still had the MacBook Pro with the M1 Pro chip and the MacBook Pro with the M1 Max chip, and I was comparing them side to side, and I was thinking, why did I pay so much more for the M1 Max than this M1 Pro? They pretty much do the same thing and handle the things the same way, but you know, I've made a decision to keep this one, so I kept it just in case, and I've been super happy with it. So I'm not gonna go and second guess myself this far down the line. All right, this thing does have speakers, folks, apparently. I don't know where they put the grills, because normally there's little holes on the side. This one doesn't have little holes. This one has little holes. I don't know where the holes are. Here's my interpretation of what I just heard from the speakers, in case you're interested. The MacBook Air M1 is seemingly louder, but it's very heavy in the mid-range. Very mid-range heavy, and like kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, almost. This one rounds off the middle and kind of brings up the bass and the treble a little bit more. It's more of a flat response, I think, for audio, and cleaner. It sounds a lot cleaner, but it's not as loud, perceptually at least. So, that's what we got. Of course, I did compare, let's compare the MacBook Pro, okay? Let's do that one, because that one has crazy speakers. Let's try that one. Where's my... Oh, I'm confused because I got... I got universal control on here, and now my mouse is like sliding through across all these computers. And I don't know where my mouse is. One of the downsides of universal control, I guess. So I'm going to play Crab Rave for you. All right, and this is going to be on the MacBook Pro. All right, hold on to your hats. You notice the difference? MacBook Pro, MacBook Air. Big difference, huh? Whew. Whew. Makes me want to go up and dance. I'll knock everything over in this office. I need to make some space and clean my office. It's crazy. So, Johnny says, is Alex in his boxers? I could be. It's my house. Why can't I be? Ahmed says, M2 sounds cleaner. I can't believe you guys can hear that through my microphone here. But yeah, that's what it sounds like to me also. It's clean. It's a very clean sound on the MacBook Air, and I don't know how they did it. There's no speaker grills. I don't know where they're putting it out from. Maybe it's between the body and the monitor. There's a lot of vent holes there, so maybe it's there. All right, so for those folks that are asking about thermal tests, I will be doing those for sure. Just not today, because today we're just doing an unboxing and doing some fun little things, first impressions. Any other things you want me to do that's quick today? Put them in the comments, please. Put them in the chat, I mean. Flatty says, Alex, how often do you use external display with MacBook Pro 16? Pretty much all the time. So, first of all, on my desk, where is that? Here. This is connected to my MacBook Pro, my 27-inch. That's what I use most of the time. This one, I sometimes use it together, but I haven't been lately. So one extra screen is usually enough for me. Now, when I'm out of the house, I've been using a couple of options that people have sent me because I'm a YouTuber. So they've sent me a couple of free things. By the way, I'm giving all this stuff away. They're not paying me, and I'm not taking any money or keeping this stuff. I'm giving it away. This video's coming up where I show these things off, how they work, and then I give them away. So stay tuned for those things. So there's one of them. It's a 15-inch panel. Pretty cool. And this one is a 3. Basically, you get 2 extra monitors. Also pretty useful. I like having multiple monitors and on the go too, so that's why I use those. AJ, thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, let's see. John Manuel says, screen side by side with M1 Air and M2 Air is the same. Well, have a look. Let's compare. Let's open up a code window. Let's see, JavaScript. So I'm not 100% sure that this is the default anymore on my MacBook Air. And of course, it's a little confusing because the dock is bigger over here, but I can hide the dock. Let's do that. All right. It looks like there's more space on the new MacBook Air, folks. There's more vertical space, even with that notch. Now, this is not scientific or anything, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a piece of paper. I'm going to line up visually. All right, so we've got like 3 extra millimeters. The screen goes down 3 extra millimeters on the M2, a little bit lower than the M1. And it's actually higher. Look at that. That's where the code window ends. It's in the bezel of the M1. Wow, I didn't know that. So even with the scaling and everything, maybe not the same, the visual distance between top and bottom is more on the M2. Interesting. Now, as far as which one is higher, the M2 MacBook Air is like a millimeter taller than the M1 right here. You can feel a bump about a millimeter. Not a big difference. All right. Kay says, is the new form factor solid? Yes, it's super solid. I threw it around in the beginning of this stream and it's really solid, well built. I mean, it feels well built. I don't know if it's well built, but it feels well built and solid. Muhammad Wakad Siddiqui says, how good does the M2 handle virtual machines? I have a couple of videos coming out soon with the M2 MacBook Pro and virtual machines. And I'll probably do some tests on this one as well. Oh, Arunseto asks, do I swear in Russian or in English? Well, I have kids, so I swear in Russian nowadays, but I mix them up. I mix it up. How far does the hinge go? You people come up with awesome questions that I haven't even thought about. Very good question, because when you're in a coffee shop and you want to do weird stuff like see how far the hinge goes and freak everybody else out, then you can do that. No, seriously, a valid question. There's the hinge on the M2. It doesn't go further than that. About the same as the M1 MacBook Air. There's your hinges. And here's the MacBook Pro. They're all about the same. Same degrees. I don't know, is that 45 degrees back? It looks about that. Okay. Webcams. Interesting. Interesting question. Let's take a look at the webcams. For that, for you guys to see it, I might need to just plug this thing in. Now I'm comparing the MacBook Air M1 webcam with the M2 webcam. Hello. It's supposed to be a better webcam, right? I'm not sure how to, let's see, 1 second, folks. This is what happens when you log in. You get all your private, personal stuff showing up here. And I don't want that stuff on my stream. Sorry. Interesting. Can we do this? I'm still here. All right, I'll do one at a time here. This is the MacBook Air M1. I'm shiny. Why am I so shiny? Look how shiny I am. That's crazy. Okay, so MacBook Air M1, I think it's a 720. All right, and here is the MacBook Air M2. I'm no longer shiny. I think it looks pretty decent here. It looks better than the M1. I think it's a 1080 camera. And you can see more details like behind me on the wall. So, yeah, better camera. All right. Who is spamming? Anybody spamming? I don't know. Oh, I see. Anuj is spamming. Anuj, please stop spamming. Thank you. So Anuj, to answer your question quickly, I will be doing those tests, Android Studio and Xcode, but not today. Okay? Xcode is just going to take a long time to install, and I don't want you all to sit through that. So Hussein, a very good question, and I think we're going to wrap it up there. Hussein says, who would I recommend the M2 Air for? Somebody that doesn't already have a Mac. And I gotta think, like, would I recommend the M1 Air at that point to them? Somebody who likes the new design, I guess. It's a great machine. Nothing wrong with it, but I don't know. I don't know, like, why somebody would pick this one over the MacBook Air M1. The MacBook Air M1 is still an amazing machine, and now it's a good deal too. This one is really expensive. Like, if this M2 was in the same price ranges as the M1, easy, get the M2. But because it's so much higher in price, it's really becoming difficult to recommend that one. And it's brand new. I don't know how people are going to watch my channel now. I just shot myself in the foot by saying that. No, the M2 MacBook Air is amazing. You should watch all the videos about it. I can't say that. It's not, I mean, it may be great. Okay, we will do testing. I will do testing. You can watch it. You don't have to watch it. But, like, my first impressions of it is it's way too expensive for what it is. And go out and get yourself an M1. All right. Let's see. What else? Is it too hot to touch now? No, it's not. It's still the same temperature. It's still nice and cool. So, a lot of people are asking some of the similar questions that we've already covered. I will leave this stream up. It should be available in a couple hours. And there was one person that asked me to run a command. Not sure, it went by so quick. I'm not sure what that command does. But, let's see, where is that? No idea. I think it might have gotten lost. All right, folks, I think we'll wrap it up there. Hopefully this was useful to you. We'll do it again. I'm getting the 24 gigabyte one, and we'll do an unboxing with that one. Today was like a triple unboxing because I got a bunch of these. And yeah, so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 MacBook Airs in here to compare against each other from different generations. It's going to be interesting. Divyansh, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. That's awesome. All right. Thank you, folks. I'll see you soon. I'll see you in the videos next week. Well, you'll see me. I won't see you. I'll see you all in the comments. Have a good one.